Christina from Haunted Flower, and this week I genuinely wish I had a better review to give for this movie. But here we go. You know I gotta be straight with you about Clash of the Titans, the remake of the 1981 classic. Clash of the Titans was directed by Louis Leterrier, the director of Transporter 2 and The Incredible Hulk, which was the Edward Norton version. It stars Sam Worthington as Perseus, son of Zeus, played by Liam Neeson, whose entire family has been killed by Hades, played by Ralph Fiennes. And with the help of Io, her name is literally I-O, and I still couldn't figure out Io. Perseus, with the help of Io, is seeking revenge and attempting to save Argos and the Princess Andromeda, played by Alexa Davalvos. The plot from the original movie has been changed drastically. Some changes are for the better and some are for the worse. The best changes made were the focus of men against gods, with Perseus stubbornly refusing help from the gods almost every step of the way, so that if he achieves his goals, he does it as a man, and he can prove that humans don't need the gods anymore, and it has nothing to do with wanting to get some of that Andromeda. Getting Andromeda engaged and that whole storyline has been cut in favor of just skipping right ahead to the threat that she must be sacrificed on account of her mother Cassiopeia having a big mouth to save the people of Argos from the giant kraken. The changes I didn't like were the removal of many of the characters having participating roles, namely the gods, who mostly just stood there, all except for two, barely said or did anything. I kind of wanted to hear more from the gods, and I like that idea of them working together against Zeus, especially the women. Perseus is not even romantically interested in Andromeda in this version. So what of Calibus, the suitor from the first movie, you might ask? Well, instead of Calibus being Thetis's son, the goddess from the first movie played by Maggie Smith, Calibus is somehow the king of the queen who is Perseus's mom, who he threw into the water? Which kind of just seems like an odd place to put him. Instead of the Kraken being mastered by Poseidon, god of the seas, he is a child of Hades and works his will. This angle is just really oversimplified for the audiences into a very basic good versus evil, Zeus versus Hades, instead of the gods wagering amongst themselves, playing with men's lives. An epic movie should have a lot of story along with the visual bang for your buck, and this movie actually only clocks in at around an hour and 40 minutes, surprisingly. Sam Worthington, as in Avatar and Terminator Salvation, finds himself in the middle of another war that his character initially wants no part of. His characters do not greatly differ from one another, and they certainly all have the same hairstyle. This version of Perseus is raised as a fisherman and has never been trained to be a soldier, and he refuses the gifts from the gods so that he can win on his own, instead of the 1981 version that was a mop-top Perseus molded from birth for the physical tasks before him and handed shiny toys right and left. There was a new addition to help supplement the loss of other characters, Io, played by Gemma Arterton, whom you might remember as Strawberry Fields in Quantum Solace, and her voice in the trailers for the upcoming Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. She does have a really beautiful voice that is so celestial that it actually is just a little bit confusing as to what she really is. She says she's a human cursed with agelessness and has watched over Perseus her whole life, but her fighting skills and her glowing skin almost make her seem a little bit more like a Middle-earth elf or a demigod herself. Liam Neeson's Zeus has a sparkly glowing robe and walks on the clouds in Olympus. His greatest assets are his booming voice and bone structure in his face. He just kind of owns that whole god role, even though he's wearing very shiny, sparkly clothes. Hades is the most visually exciting character to watch, even more than a Medusa. He has the ability to sprout black smoke wings that kind of scary winged beasts fly out of and attack his foes. Fiennes uses a very similar whispery voice here that he uses as Voldemort in the Harry Potter franchise, but his character here has a great deal more hair. The best part of the movie is that the action sequences are very exciting, particularly those battle scenes with giant scorpions, Medusa, and the Kraken. The visuals, sound, and editing are wonderful in this film. The problem is that the 3D is not nearly as impressive as it should have been, given the events going on screen. I mean, there's like tentacles and winged creatures, and they should have been flying right out at me. There's all sorts of things that should have just really been flying out, like Medusa snakes. There's so much opportunity here. But obviously, this was not converted until afterwards. So really, other than a few sequences in the very beginning and a few sequences at the very end, there's not a ton coming out at you. It's just another focused perspective movie. And honestly, the 3D glasses kind of dim the colors. It makes it a little bit darker. And there are some scenes that you can kind of flip up and watch without your glasses. So I really would recommend just kind of go into the 2D showing on this one. Save yourself the money. For the 3D, the best sequence is the narrated opening introducing all the circumstances voiced by Arterton with 3D celestial cosmos like unfolding before you in the stars. It reminds me a lot of the Galadriel narration in the first Lord of the Rings movie. The rest of the movie is pretty standard, so save your money and watch it in 2D, and you'll probably actually see a better picture with brighter colors. The biggest reason for remaking this movie was just to show what could be done with today's technology and advances in film to make the movie look a lot more modern and definitely flashy. At this, it really succeeds in spades. It's a very impressive film to watch visually. But my biggest complaint is that I felt personally the plot was just a little bit oversimplified, and taking out all the other gods as significant characters, I felt a little shortchanged and a little underwhelmed with that. So I was bummed, but you might still really enjoy it. So take that into account when you're deciding whether or not you would like to go see it. Don't forget, I have a brand new website, hauntedflowerreviews.com, where all of my movie reviews are stored. But that should not stop you from checking out my original site, hauntedflower.com, which is our awesome online retail store that sells apparel, and particularly movie apparel is one of the many things, including Clash of the Titans. So do check it out if you are a movie buff, video game buff, TV buff, anime, WWE. We've got a little bit of everything, and that's kind of how we roll. So if you like the movie reviews I'm putting on here, maybe go visit my store sometime, just check it out, maybe tell your friends. Yes, this is a shameless plug, but you're watching, aren't you? Thank you very much, and please watch for my next video. I'm going to be reviewing A Prophet, Crazy Heart, and also The Runaways this week. So I've got a lot of videos coming, so I'm just getting started. Shameless plug! Don't forget to see all of my reviews and videos of me on the Rotten Tomatoes show at hauntedflowerreviews.com. Also check out our store, hauntedflower.com, the web's best source for fantastic apparel. You can follow us on Twitter at haunted_flower or fan our Facebook page too. If you're local to the Indianapolis area, visit indiemojo.com for details on how you can win free screening passes. What started out as friendship has grown